Asterisk before we begin, if stories about justice, truth, and the courage to stand alone speak to you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Because this story might change how you look at every courtroom from now on. Asterisk, 12 strangers, one room, one life on the line. They told him it would only take a day, maybe two. The evidence was clear. The defendant looked the part, and everyone already had dinner plans. But Marcus Lee, the only black man in the jury, knew better, because he had seen that look before. That rush to judgment, that quiet consensus that always formed before anyone asked the right questions, the kind of silence that echoes louder than a shout. So, when the jury room door closed, and 11 people turned toward a guilty verdict, Marcus simply said, "I'm not there yet." And just like that, the door didn't open again for 3 days. Inside that small, windowless room, a battle began. Not of fists or politics, but of truth versus comfort, of bias versus reflection, of a man's life versus their weekend plans. Marcus didn't yell, didn't grandstand. He just kept asking the question, what if we're wrong? This story isn't about courtroom theatrics. It's about what happens when the system pretends to be neutral, but is built on a foundation of quiet assumptions. A black teenager on trial for the murder of a white store owner. No weapon recovered. One shaky eyewitness. A prosecutor who used words like intimidating, erratic, dangerous, but never child. They wanted the case closed. But Marcus saw something else. A kid who reminded him of himself. What followed inside that jury room wasn't just a legal argument, it was a reckoning. A businessman revealed the time he crossed the street without thinking when he saw a hoodie. A retired cop confessed how many times gut feeling became cause for arrest. A white mother admitted that if the defendant were her son, she'd be begging them to look again. The walls cracked, the room heated, and slowly, painfully one by one, they started to change their minds. This is not a story about heroism. It's about the courage to be alone. To hold the line when it shakes under you, to refuse to nod along when the world is trying to move on without justice. Studio microphone 12 entered, 11 wanted out, but one stayed long enough to make them all see what they missed. Asterisk, they didn't choose him because they trusted him. They chose him because he seemed quiet. What they didn't know was that silence can hold more truth than a whole courtroom. Asterisk, int, jury deliberation room, 8:17 a.m. A rectangular table dominates the center of a plain, windowless room. 12 chairs surround it. The air is thick, not with heat, but with what hasn't been said yet. Coffee steams in disposable cups. Some jurors scroll their phones. Others flip through jury instructions like they're just skimming a menu. The bailiff closes the door behind them. Clunk. They're alone now. And a young black man, maybe 19, waits on the other side of that door for a verdict. Round pushbin, who's in the room? Let's meet them. Not names yet, just presence. Bearded person, male signed juror number 1, the foreman. White, 50s, accountant. Neat haircut, the kind who always volunteers to keep things moving. Likes order, doesn't like disagreement. Woman red hair, juror number 2, the mom. White, 40s, PDA energy. Thoughtful, but says things like, I don't see color, and means it. Grips a purse in her lap like it's a baby. Adult medium skin tone, curly hair, juror number 3, the young bro. Latino, 20s, Uber driver. Thinks fast, talks faster. Didn't want jury duty, but now kind of intrigued. Wears AirPods during lunch breaks. Old man light skin tone, juror number 4, the ex-cop. White, 60s, retired officer. Sees the world in black and white. Hates mess. Carries invisible authority. Woman dark skin tone, curly hair. Juror number 5. The auntie. Black. Late 50s. Nurse. Warm. But watch out when she speaks. It lands. Man office worker light skin tone. Juror number 6. The manager. Asian. 40s. Middle management at a firm. Doesn't want drama. Just wants to vote leave and get back to his kids. Adult medium dark skin tone, juror number 7, Marcus. Black. 42, history teacher. Observant. Quiet. The kind of man who lets people show themselves before he speaks. And right now, he's the only one not tapping his fingers or rushing the process. We'll meet the others soon. But for now, it's enough. Hot beverage the room starts to buzz. Foreman, juror number 1. Clapping hands. All right, folks, we all saw the same thing. Let's knock this out, so we can get home before lunch. Juror number 3, young bro. Can we just do a quick vote first, see where we're at? Juror number 2, the mom. Agreed. This seems open and shut. Juror number 4, ex-cop. It's a textbook case. Kid's prints on the counter. Witness saw him run. What else is there? Marcus, juror number 7. Quietly, let's vote. Foreman. Great. Quick show of hands. Guilty? 10 hands go up fast. 1 slower. Then they all look toward the end of the table. Marcus hasn't raised his hand. He's staring down at the file. High voltage, the first crack. Foreman. Mr. Lee? Marcus. I'm not there yet. Juror number 3. Wait, what? Why not? Marcus. Because the evidence is circumstantial. Because the only eyewitness admitted it was dark. Because the victim was white and the defendant is black, and we're not talking about that. Juror number 4. That's not fair. Are you implying we're racist? Marcus. I'm implying we're human. And humans bring bias into every room they enter, especially this one. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Fork and knife with plate, lunchtime, but no one's hungry. Some try to laugh it off. Others get defensive. But the energy has shifted. Now every word is weighted. Every glance is loaded. The foreman begins pacing. Foreman. Look, if this is about race. Marcus. This is about a kid's life. Foreman. The law says. Marcus. The law also once said my grandfather wasn't a full man. Boom. Annie nods. The ex-cop folds his arms tighter. Open book flashback. Quick cut. Int. Young Marcus, age 17. Pulled over in the rain. Hands on the hood. Face pressed to metal. A voice. Fit the description. No apology. No charges. Just memory. Mantelpiece clock back to present. The pressure builds. Juror number 2, the mom. I don't think we're doing anyone favors by dragging this out. Marcus. Favors? You think I stayed here 10 hours to give out favors? Juror number 5, Auntie. Let the man talk. Marcus opens the file again. Points to the timeline. The shop owner was killed at 8:47 p.m. The kid was seen 3 blocks away at 8:53. You ever run 3 blocks in 5 minutes after committing murder? Without panting? Without a weapon? Silence. Someone swallows hard. Studio microphone voiceover as camera circles the room. Asterisk, they thought he was delaying. What he was really doing was teaching. Asterisk, when you ask uncomfortable questions, people don't hear the question. They hear the threat behind it. Asterisk, int. Jury room, 1:14 p.m. The lunch boxes have barely been touched. The table now looks more like a war zone than a workspace. Legal pads scattered. Notes crossed out. Tension rising. Marcus sits still. Calm, but deliberate. In front of him, the case file, the photo of the defendant, Tariq Mills, 19, black, tired eyes, stares back up from the folder. One by one, the others try to move past him. And one by one, he holds them there. Cloud, foreman leans in. Foreman, juror number 1. Okay, let's talk. You think Tariq's innocent? Marcus. I think he hasn't been proven guilty. That's different. Juror number 4, ex-cop. His fingerprints were in the store. Marcus. On the counter. Not on the body. Not on the weapon. You ever lean on a counter when you walk in? Juror number 4. There was no cash in the drawer. Marcus. And no proof he took it. No surveillance footage. Only one witness who admitted it was raining dark, and she only saw a hoodie. Juror number 2, Mom. But she was so sure. Marcus. Was she? Or did we just like how certain she sounded? Collision first real pushback. Juror number 6, the manager. Look, this isn't about race. Marcus. Of course it is. Juror number 6. We're talking about facts. Marcus. No. You're talking about facts you believe faster because of who's accused. Juror number 3, young bro. Damn, Marcus, let me ask you something. If Tarek Mills looked like your son, would you be this quick to send him away for life? Silence. Someone shifts in their seat. Juror number 5, Auntie, say it again. Marcus, if he looked like your son, Foreman. Come on now. Marcus, would you still call this open and shut? Counterclockwise zeros button tension reverses. Juror number 2 lowers her eyes. She says quietly, he reminded me of my son. That's why I wanted to believe the prosecutor. Everyone looks at her. Juror number 2, because if he could do that, then I don't understand my world anymore. Stopwatch flashback. Int. Courtroom. Days earlier. Prosecutor pacing. Words carefully chosen. This young man may not have a record, but that doesn't mean he isn't dangerous. He's fast. He's unpredictable. He ran. Marcus from the jury box watches the language like a detective. He's heard it all before. Not evidence, just adjectives. Back to present jury room. Juror number 4, ex-cop. I've seen kids like him. They run because they did something. Marcus. Or because they've seen what happens to boys who stay. Juror number 4. You defending criminals now? Marcus. No. I'm defending the idea that we should be sure before we erase someone. Chart decreasing moment of doubt. Juror number 3, young bro. I mean, he's not wrong. Foreman. This is a waste of time. Marcus. A waste of time is sending the wrong person to prison and sleeping just fine. Balance scale shift begins. Marcus flips a page in the case file. Tarek's alibi? His grandmother. We laughed when she hesitated, but she's 81, on blood pressure meds, and terrified in a courtroom full of people waiting to poke holes. Juror number 5, Auntie, that part bothered me. Marcus, but nobody said anything. Counterclockwise arrows button flash to courtroom, defense side. Tarek's grandma, small, slow speaking, hands shaking on the Bible. The prosecutor interrupts her twice. Nobody objected. Hourglass not done in the room, second vote. Foreman, let's vote again. Just to see. Raise your hand if you still believe Tarek is guilty. This time, only 7 hands go up. 5 stay down. One of them is the PDA mom. Another is the young bro. And now, the room feels different. Studio microphone, asterisk, it doesn't take a roar to shake a room. Just a whisper that someone finally heard. Asterisk, right Caro next, part 3. Rising tension 2000 words. The line is drawn. Sides form. The foreman loses control. And someone tries to silence Marcus, not with force, but with logic. But truth? It's louder than reason when you finally let it speak. The first crack never breaks the wall. But once light gets in, the wall never forgets. Int. Jury room, 4:32 p.m. The table is divided now. On one side, 7 jurors, still sure, still leaning on instinct, still checking their watches. On the other side, Marcus, anti-juror number 5. The young bro, juror number 3. PDA mom, juror number 2. The silence between them is thick, not with hate, but with the fear of changing your mind in front of people you've already agreed with. Foreman reacts, tactical. Foreman, juror number 1. We've heard everyone out, okay? We're starting to spiral. Let's bring it back to the evidence. He clicks a pen like a gavel. Let's list out the facts. Witness said she saw him flee. Cash drawer was empty. His prints were inside. Marcus, do you know how many people touch that counter every day? Foreman, but his were the only ones not accounted for. Anti-juror number 5. That doesn't prove robbery. That proves he touched a counter. Brain, ex-cop speaks again. Juror number 4, ex-cop. Look, I did this job for 30 years. I've seen this pattern too many times. Run means guilt. Marcus, I grew up in a place where run means survive. Doesn't matter what you did. It's about what they might do to you if you don't move. Silence. He doesn't need to explain who they is. Everyone knows. Cold face shift in strategy, logic over emotion. Juror number 6, the manager. I just don't think we can throw out everything because of a maybe. We're not social activists. We're jurors. We stick to evidence. Marcus, you think bias isn't evidence? Juror number 6. It's not objective. Marcus, neither are we. That line lands hard. Hourglass done quick flashback. Marcus teaching history. Int. Public high school night classroom. Marcus, teaching young black and brown students. History isn't neutral. It's just written by the ones who won. Our job isn't to read the page. It's to ask, who's missing from it? Back to present. Angry face Foreman snaps. Foreman, this is getting ridiculous. You're not a lawyer. You're not a detective. You're a teacher, right? Marcus doesn't answer. The foreman smirks. Foreman, then maybe save the lectures for the classroom. Young BRO, juror number 3. Yo, chill. Marcus, it's fine. He stands slowly. You want to know what I teach? That justice isn't a finish line. It's a practice. And we're either doing it or we're pretending to. Dead quiet. Fork and knife with plate, dinner break vote. The bailiff brings in cold sandwiches. Nobody eats. Foreman pushes a third vote. Guilty? 6 hands. Down from 10. Even juror number 6 looks unsure now. He hesitates. Eyes, juror number 9, the quiet one, finally speaks. We haven't heard from her until now. Juror number 9, middle-aged black woman. Librarian. Been watching everyone the whole time. She closes her book. I didn't say anything because I didn't think you'd listen. But I've been watching. And I keep thinking if Tarek was my nephew, we wouldn't even be in this room. Because they wouldn't have charged him in the first place. Gasps. She puts her hand down. No vote. Just presence. And that says more. Whole tension underneath the tension. Juror number 6 steps outside to take a break. When he returns, he speaks to Marcus privately. My son got profiled last year. Korean kid. Hoodie. They held him for 2 hours because he looked nervous. Marcus listens. Doesn't interrupt. I get now. I just didn't want to be the first one to say it. Marcus nods. Direct hit then, the system pushes back. The bailiff returns with a note. Judge requests update on progress. Please confirm if deadlocked. Foreman folds arms. Foreman, we're close. Just need to narrow the resistance. He stares at Marcus. Not subtle. Pushpin, the final move this part. Marcus walks to the evidence board, points to the map. If you still think Tarek ran 3 blocks in 5 minutes, in the rain, without leaving a single track, then this isn't about truth anymore. It's about not wanting to admit you were wrong. The room holds its breath. Studio microphone, asterisk, sometimes justice doesn't arrive with applause. It arrives when someone finally stops lying to themselves. Asterisk, asterisk, standing up costs more than silence. And when truth enters a room built on comfort, it doesn't get welcomed. It gets cornered. Asterisk, int, jury room, 8:03 p.m., 12 people, 14 hours, 3 cold meals, 1 kid's life on the line. The air is stale. The tension, knife thin. The bailiff has just stepped out with their latest note, still deliberating. And now someone snaps. Pouting face, the foreman loses it. Foreman, juror number 1. This is insane. We've been here all day. What more do you want, Marcus? A confession from God? Marcus. No, just one from the 11 of you. Foreman. Excuse me? Marcus. Confess that you rushed it. That you saw the hoodie, the skin, and you decided before the judge even sat down. Foreman. You arrogant son of a... Anti-juror number 5. That's enough. Face screaming in fear, the accusation. Juror number 4, ex-cop. This ain't about truth anymore. This is about your race. Marcus. That's funny. Because that's what I've been saying since the start. Juror number 4. You're playing the race card. Marcus. No. You just keep trying to shuffle it back into the deck. Boom. Dead silence. Even the foreman sits back. Brain, juror number 2, PDA mom, breaks down. She starts to cry. Juror number 2. I didn't want this to be about race. I wanted to believe we were better than that. Marcus. So did I. That line lands soft. But it echoes. Hourglass not done flashback. Marcus at age 17. He's standing in a parking lot. 3 cops. Hands up. His mom is crying in the distance. One officer whispers, "It's just protocol." Back to present. Person standing medium skin tone. Marcus stands. He moves slowly to the front of the room. No paper. No charts. Just his voice. "You think I want to be here arguing with you? I've done that my whole life. Every classroom. Every job. Every time I have to decide if I should correct someone or just stay likable. But today, I'm not here to be likable." He looks directly at juror number 4. "I'm here so that if that kid rots in a cell for the rest of his life, it won't be because I said nothing." Warning, the room spirals. Juror number 6, manager. "Okay, I get it, but this isn't helping." Now everyone's on edge. Juror number 9, librarian. "Maybe edge is where we need to be." Foreman. "So, what? We just keep sitting here until what? We all become saints?" Young BRO, juror number 3. "We sit here until we stop lying to ourselves." Silence again. This silence isn't awkward. It's awakening. Anger symbol, a gut punch. Juror number 4, ex-cop. "You know what, Marcus? You keep talking about bias, but maybe you're the one who can't see clearly, because you see yourself in that boy, not the evidence." Oof. Everyone freezes. "Marcus, you're right." They blink. "Marcus, I do see myself in him. That's why I'm the only one here who can't afford to be wrong." Foreman. "So you admit you're emotional." Marcus. "I admit I'm human." Package. Marcus steps away. He walks to the corner. Sits. Face buried in his hands. For the first time, he looks tired. Tired of fighting. Studio microphone. Asterisk, the strongest man in the room is often the one too exhausted to speak anymore. Asterisk, sparkles the unexpected voice. Then it happens. Juror number 10, an older white man. Retired school janitor. Never said a word this entire time. He clears his throat. "I worked in a high school for 42 years. I've cleaned up blood. I've broken up fights. And I've seen more scared kids than criminals." Everyone turns. "You know what scared looks like? It looks like Tarek. You know what dangerous looks like? It's not always brown." Silence. He raises his hand slowly. "Not guilty." Studio microphone, and just like that, the crack became a doorway. The truth doesn't always arrive like a bomb. Sometimes it's a whisper, from someone no one expected to speak. Asterisk, int, jury room. Day 3, 9:45 a.m. The room looks different. Not physically, but spiritually. The food goes untouched. Phones are off. People are listening now, not just to Marcus, but to themselves. Marcus sits back, silent. Exhausted, yes, but watchful. Something's about to break, and it comes from someone unexpected. File folder. The file returns. Juror number 2, the PDA mom, opens the case file again. Hands trembling, she flips past the autopsy photos, the forensics, the timeline, stops at something no one really paid attention to before. Wait, this says the store's front camera was out, but there was a side alley cam, and the footage was never submitted into evidence. Marcus's eyes lift. Slowly. Say that again. Juror number 2. Side camera. Marked as corrupted, but there's no follow-up request from the defense to retrieve it. Juror number 3. Young bro. Yo, that's sketchy as hell. Auntie. So, what if there was footage that could have cleared him? Marcus. Then someone didn't want it seen. Magnifying glass tilted left, the twist begins. Juror number 6. Manager. Suddenly looks shaken. I've seen this before. A case in my cousin's town. Footage lost until a community lawyer forced its release. Turns out, the kid they charged never even entered the store. The room goes cold. Video cassette. Ex-cop gets quiet. Everyone turns to juror number 4, the retired officer. Marcus, you ever seen that happen? He pauses. Long. Then, not just once. Heads turn. Foreman, you're saying that out loud? Juror number 4, ex-cop. I didn't say I like it. I said I've seen it. Sometimes, they lose what they don't want found. Bomb personal revelation. Juror number 2 stands. Her hands shake. You want to know the truth? 5 years ago, my son got jumped at school. He was bruised and bleeding. I thought it was some thugs. We had cameras. I pushed the principal to show the tape. Turned out it was the football team. White. Well off. 2 of them are in Ivy League schools now. I never said sorry to the kids. I assumed. Until today, I didn't realize I was still carrying that silence. She sits. Tears roll. Nobody speaks. Not even Marcus. Studio microphone, a room full of people, finally learning what it means to be a witness. Older adult, medium skin tone, the janitor speaks again. Juror number 10, the old school janitor, clears his throat. I cleaned floors for 4 decades. You'd be shocked what people drop when they think no one's watching. I remember when they arrested a 14-year-old because they found a screwdriver in his backpack. Said he was planning a break-in. You know what the screwdriver was for? His bike chain. He had no dad. Fixed his own wheels. He cried when they cuffed him. I was the one who had to mop up his tears. No one blinks. Pushpin the final shift. Marcus speaks. Soft. If we're wrong, and we vote guilty, there's no going back. But if we're unsure, and we vote not guilty, then we admit the system has to try harder next time. That's not weakness. That's justice. Inbox stray, vote number 4. This time it's anonymous. Slips of paper, folded quietly, dropped into the center of the table. The foreman opens each one, reads aloud, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. 12 total, unanimous, not guilty. The room doesn't cheer. There's no high five, just breathing, like someone finally opened a window. Marcus leans back, not triumphant, just still. End arrow closing moment. As they prepare to leave, juror number 4, the ex-cop, stops Marcus at the door. You were right. I just didn't know how to say it without losing the image I had of myself. Marcus, we all lose parts of ourselves in here. The question is, did we gain something better? They shake hands. A pause. A nod. And then they walk out. Studio microphone. Tarek Mills never knew what happened in that room. But the system that nearly swallowed him whole? It will remember Marcus Lee. You don't walk out of a room like that the same man. You walk out with every weight they tried to bury you under, and the silence of the man whose life you may have just saved. Asterisk, int. Courthouse, outside jury room, 11:22 a.m. The bailiff opens the door. 12 people exit. Their faces are blank, neutral, professional. But if you look closely, you'll see something else. A tremble in the foreman's lip, a crease in the cop's jaw, a small nod from the librarian to Marcus. The jury has reached a verdict. Microphone int. Courtroom verdict read. The judge looks at them. In the case of the state versus Tarek Mills, how do you find the defendant? Foreman. Voice cracking. Not guilty. Gasp. The courtroom ripples. Tarek slumps forward. His public defender grips his shoulder. His grandmother cries, soundlessly. Her hands shake against her cane. Marcus doesn't smile. He just breathes. Finally, television outside, the cameras wait. As the jurors exit the courthouse, they're met by a wall of cameras. Reporters swarm. Why not guilty? Do you feel the system failed? Did race play a role? Can we speak to Marcus Lee? Mr. Lee, why were you the last to vote guilty? Marcus keeps walking. Silent. Straight ahead. Mobile phone with arrow media reacts. Twitter explodes. Black juror hijacks verdict. Hero or radical? Trial tainted by woke pressure? On Fox News, what happened in that jury room is not justice. It's emotional sabotage. But on CNN, finally, someone said what needed to be said in the room where it mattered most. On TikTok, clips of Marcus walking out. Edits set to emotional music. Hashtag trending. Hashtag because of Marcus. Person standing medium dark skin tone int. Marcus's apartment, that night. Dim lighting. He sits at the kitchen table. Still in his courthouse clothes. No TV. No music. Just him and a glass of water he hasn't touched. He takes a deep breath and finally lets himself feel it. Not pride, not victory, but release. Open mailbox with raised flag, a letter arrives. 2 days later, a hand-addressed envelope arrives at Marcus's door. No return address. Inside, a folded piece of lined paper, written in shaky, blue pen. Underscore, I don't know who you are, but my grandson came home because of you. He doesn't understand why they hated him without knowing him. But he says he remembers your face, calm, like you believed him, even when no one else did. Underscore, thank you. I thought I'd never see him again outside a prison wall. Underscore, M. Jefferson Tarek's grandmother. Marcus folds the letter, places it under a magnet on the fridge, next to a photo of him in his classroom. Adult medium dark skin tone, school flash 2. Marcus teaching, back in class. A week later, Marcus is back in his high school classroom. A group of students stare at him, more attentively than usual. He finishes explaining a unit on To Kill a Mockingbird. Then a student raises their hand. Mr. Lee, did you really do that jury thing? He pauses, then nods. Was it scary? Every second. Why'd you do it? Because I promised you all that truth matters more than comfort, and I couldn't come back here if I didn't live what I taught. Telephone receiver, a call from a name he never expected. Later that day, his phone rings. Unknown number. He almost lets it go to voicemail, but something tells him to pick up. Mr. Lee, my name is Angela Ross. I'm a federal civil rights attorney. We reviewed your case, the judge's note, the jury deliberation time, and we think it's time we look deeper, not just at this case, but at every case the lead detective handled. Marcus sits up straight. We could use your voice. On the record. Receipt, Marcus considers. That night, he pulls out a journal. Writes only one sentence. They can't silence what echoes. He closes the book, then opens his laptop. Loudspeaker, the community reacts. At Tarek's church, a service is held. The pastor mentions Marcus by name. God doesn't send angels with wings. He sends them with patience and courage. At a local bookshop, Marcus is invited to speak. He refuses, but leaves behind a copy of The Fire Next Time with a note inside. If you ever wonder whether standing alone matters, it does. Camera with flash, the viral photo. A photo emerges. Tarek walking out of court. Behind him, a blurred figure. Marcus, walking the other way. Caption reads, one walked out free. The other walked back into the fire. So, the rest of us could know the heat is survivable. Studio microphone, asterisk, Marcus didn't just change a verdict. He changed a room. And once the room changes, the whole system has to follow. Asterisk, not every hero gets a medal. Some just get a name remembered in someone else's freedom. Int. Marcus's classroom, 1 week later. Posters on the wall, Baldwin, Angelou Ta-Nehisi Coates. A quote board above the chalk tray. The most dangerous weapon is an educated mind. Marcus leans against his desk as the last bell rings. The students file out slowly, some lingering just to say, "Bye, Mr. Lee." A folded paper is left behind. He picks it up, unfolds it, scrawled in handwriting only a teenager could own. Thanks for showing us that grown-ups can do the right thing, too. He smiles. Not big, just enough. Open mailbox with raised flag invitation from the governor. That evening, a manila envelope sits in his mailbox. Inside, a letter, a gold-trimmed invitation, and a certificate draft. Letter reads, "Dear Mr. Marcus Lee, in recognition of your exceptional moral courage in the face of social pressure and your dedication to upholding justice under the law, the state of Redacted would be honored to present you with the Governor's Medal of Civil Honor at our annual ceremony next month." Asterisk, Marcus blinks. There's even a clause about paying for airfare and lodging for two. Adult medium dark skin tone conversation with his mother. He calls her. "Ma, they want to give me a medal." "Hey, what?" "Like, from the governor." Silence. "You gonna go?" "I don't know." "Son, listen to me. You remember when you were 17? That night you got pulled over." He does. Too well. You came home shaking. You said, I didn't do anything, but they looked at me like I had. I remember. Now someone's finally looking at you and seeing who you are. That's not a medal. That's balance. Telephone receiver, a call from a former student. 2 days later, he gets another surprise. His phone lights up. Caller ID. Private number. He almost lets it ring out, but answers. Mr. Lee? He pauses. Yes. You probably don't remember me. I'm Kendra Ellis. Class of 2010. You gave me a B- and told me I was playing it too safe in my writing. He laughs. Now, I'm a columnist. I write about criminal justice. I covered the Tariq Mills case before I knew it was you. She breathes deep. I wanted to tell you, you changed the way I write. You made me stop trying to sound smart and start trying to sound honest. And now you just gave me the story of the year. Pause. Also, my little brother got arrested last year. But your story gave us the courage to fight it. And we won. Marcus says nothing, but tears fill his eyes quietly. Round pushpin the ceremony. A choice to make. The day of the award arrives. Marcus stands in front of his bathroom mirror. Tie undone. Invitation still sitting on the counter. He looks himself in the eye. I didn't do it for this. But I didn't do it for nothing either. Classical building int. State Capitol ceremony night. A small stage. Velvet chairs. Polished officials. Media. When Marcus's name is called, he walks up slow. No speech written. Just a folded note in his pocket, Tariq's grandmother's letter. He doesn't take the podium. He holds the mic at waist level and says, This isn't about me. It's about a kid who nearly disappeared because no one stopped to ask better questions. It's about the silence that sits in jury rooms, boardrooms, and classrooms waiting to be broken. And it's about what happens when someone finally says, Wait, I'm not there yet. Thunderous applause. But Marcus? He just nods, then steps back into the crowd. Writing hand later that week, an op-ed appears. Title, The Man Who Broke the Verdict and Rebuilt My Faith. By Kendra Ellis. Columnist, Justice Watch. Excerpt, asterisk, Marcus Lee didn't just shift a jury. He shifted something inside me and thousands of others. He reminded us that courage doesn't shout. Sometimes it just says, let's look again. Asterisk, the article goes viral. Closed mailbox with raised flag letters start pouring in. Over the next week, Marcus receives 73 emails, 11 handwritten letters, 4 invitations to speak at schools, 1 call from Brian Stevenson's team at the Equal Justice Initiative. But he still shows up Monday morning with chalk on his sleeve, a thermos in hand, and a lesson on truth in fiction for his 9:15 lit class. Studio microphone, asterisk, some people teach with power. Others teach with presence. But Marcus Lee? He taught us all without asking for anything in return. Asterisk, real legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what walks forward because you stood still long enough for others to rise. Int. Maplewood High School. Teacher's Lounge, 7:45 a.m. It's quiet. Coffee is brewing. Sunlight slices in through dusty blinds. Marcus pours his coffee. Same mug as always. Books. Truth. Coffee. Repeat. A young woman walks in. Early 20s. Nervous smile. Clipboard in hand. Bright but unsure. Mr. Lee? Marcus is fine. I'm Bree. I'm the new student teacher assigned to you this semester. You ready for wild teenagers and wild truths? I think so. Then come on. Let's teach them how to use their voice. They walk out side by side. Adult medium dark skin tone flashback. Marcus in courtroom. Day of the verdict. As he walks past Tariq, their eyes meet. For a split second, Marcus nods. Tariq nods back. Smaller, but full of meaning. Present day. 3 months later. Marcus receives an envelope. No return address. No formal header. Just a handwritten name in the top corner. T. Mills. His hands shake slightly as he opens it. Scroll letter from Tariq. Mr. Lee, they told me not to contact you, but I needed to say thank you. You don't know me, but you didn't need to. You just needed to believe someone like me deserved better than what they were given. I'm not gonna lie, it's been hard. I've got people looking at me like I got away with something, but I keep hearing your voice in my head. Let's look again. So, I've been looking again. At myself. At my life. At the parts one can still build. I'm applying to community college. I want to study psychology. I want to be the person that I needed at 14. You gave me time, Mr. Lee. Now, I'm going to try to earn it. Underscore. Tears fill Marcus's eyes. He places the letter on his desk, right next to his lesson plan for the day. Unit, Redemption Narratives in American Lit. Woman teacher medium skin tone, Marcus mentors Bree. That afternoon, Bree stands nervously in front of class. Marcus sits in the back, silent observer. She fumbles through her lesson. Today we're talking about, Toni Morrison and narrative structure, and students yawn. Phones appear. Eyes drift, until Marcus quietly says, "Tell him why you love Morrison." Bree stops, looks at the class. Because she writes like pain has a rhythm, and because she makes silence feel holy, the room quiets, and because no one ever taught us that our pain could be literary until her. Now the students are listening. Okay, one kid says, "That's kind of cold." Bree smiles. After class, she turns to Marcus. Was that okay? It was true. That's all they ever needed. Open book, a poetry contest winner. A few weeks later, Marcus receives a flyer in his mailbox. State high school poetry winner, Jalen Ortiz, Maplewood High. He reads the winning line, asterisk, "My teacher taught me silence is a form of protest, but a whisper aimed right can shatter the courtroom." Asterisk, he chuckles. Whispers, well damn. Round Pushpin Community Impact. Maplewood High starts a new elective, Justice and Literature. Voices from the margins. The class uses Marcus's lesson plans. Zuri, the old poetry student from a previous case, guest lectures virtually. At a PDA meeting, a white father stands up and says, "I used to think we were overdoing the race stuff, but then my son came home and told me about what Mr. Lee said, and I realized we were just undertelling the truth." Applause from people who once whispered doubts. Adult medium dark skin tone Marcus writes a book. Late one night, Marcus opens his laptop. He stares at a blank document, then begins to type. Verdict. What a Jury Room Taught Me About America, by Marcus Lee. He writes about the silence, the tension, the guilt, the hope. He doesn't write to be heard. He writes to leave a map behind. Studio microphone asterisk, a verdict is just a moment. Legacy is what you do the next morning. Asterisk, camera final image of this part. Marcus stands at the back of his classroom. Bree teaches. His students read aloud. On the board, "The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off." Gloria Steinem. Marcus smiles, pulls out Tarek's letter from his coat pocket, folds it carefully, slides it into a book on his shelf. Book title, We Speak for Ourselves. You never know who's watching you stand up, until the world starts sitting forward. Int. Marcus's classroom, early morning. Marcus arrives early. It's quiet. He plugs in the overhead projector, stacks a few copies of The Fire Next Time, and opens his inbox. He nearly spills his coffee. Inbox tray 47 new emails, all from professors, law school deans, education boards, nonprofit CEOs, TV producers, subject lines, National Symposium on Truth in Education, keynote invite, PBS documentary, Would You Consider Being Our Focus? Netflix original, Seeking Consultation, 12 in the room, Harvard GSE wants you. Telephone receiver a call from Equal Justice Initiative. Marcus picks up. Mr. Lee, this is Cassandra from EJI. We were deeply moved by your story. We'd like to discuss a partnership designing curriculum that rehumanizes jury education in high schools. Our question is simple. Will you help us shape how truth is taught in America? Marcus doesn't speak for a few seconds. Then, I'll listen. I'll learn. I'll help. Television Marcus on TV. Days later, Marcus reluctantly agrees to appear on a live broadcast with a major journalist. Int. Newsroom studio. Interviewer. Calm, sharp, polite. You've been called a moral resistor, a hero, and a disruptor. What do you think you did? Marcus. Steady. I think I listened longer than most were willing to. Do you think race played a role? Yes, but so did silence. And we don't talk enough about how many lives silence has ruined. Studio microphone, asterisk, the country didn't fall in love with Marcus Lee. They fell in love with what they'd forgotten courage looked like. Asterisk, adult medium dark skin tone, school int. School, students react. His students? They're freaking out. Yo, Mr. Lee is on national TV. He got verified on Twitter. You're like famous now. Marcus shrugs. I was famous to y'all first. One kid. Don't get too bougie to grade my essay. He laughs. You better hope I do. You wrote 3 pages about Kendrick Lamar and called it a novel. Speech balloon Tariq sends another note. It's short, typed. Mr. Lee, I saw you on TV. You look calm, but I know you were scared. Thank you for staying calm when I was breaking inside. I'm writing my college application essay about that day. Hope I get in. Either way, I'm already freer than I thought I'd ever be. World map, the offers get bigger. A tenure-track position at Columbia, a public policy fellowship, a memoir deal, a 6-figure speaking tour. One offer, lead a national task force on justice reform in high school civics. Everyone around him says, this is your moment. Even his mother calls. You've got the whole country leaning in. Maybe it's time you lean back and step forward. Book's conversation with Bree. Later that week, in the teacher's lounge, Marcus sits with Bree, his student teacher. You gonna take it? She asks. Maybe. You always tell us to know when to speak up. Yeah. Maybe now's your time to speak louder. He smiles, ponders. But if I go louder, I go farther. And I might not be here for them anymore. She looks him dead in the eyes. Then teach us well enough to echo without you. Round pushbin, Marcus returns to the jury room. It's strange going back, but they invited him to speak to a new group of potential jurors. Int. Empty deliberation room. 12 chairs. One man standing. He says, in this room, someone's freedom may one day hang in the balance. Don't rush to be sure. Don't fear being alone. And whatever you do, don't forget that justice has a heartbeat. Listen for it. The trainees clap, some quietly, some with wet eyes. Envelope one final letter from an old friend. That night, Marcus receives a letter in mail, handwritten, from someone he hasn't spoken to in 20 years. Marcus, you probably don't remember me. We were in the same holding cell when we were 17. You got released the next day. I didn't. I watched you walk out and thought, I hope he does something with it. And now you did. So I just wanted to say, you made it mean something, for both of us. Signed, J. Carter. Marcus sits at his desk, holding the letter. One tear. No sobs. Just gravity. Studio microphone asterisk when the world responded. It wasn't with fanfare. It was with people, quietly saying, me too. I've waited for someone like you. A man doesn't always leave footprints you can follow. Sometimes he leaves a silence you'll never unhear. EXT, Maplewood High, late afternoon. Sunset stains the bricks golden. The school is emptying. Teenagers scatter to buses, bikes, beat-up cars. The last bell has long since rung. Marcus stands at the front steps, alone, a book in one hand. Tariq's final letter folded in the other. Behind him, years of echoes. Ahead of him, one last choice. School inside room 304. His classroom is quiet now. The chairs stacked. Board erased. Only one quote remains, faint in chalk. Justice has a heartbeat. Listen for it. He runs his fingers over it, then erases it slowly, gently, like a goodbye that doesn't need to be loud. Package Marcus cleans out his desk. A small box. A photo of his first class. The first note from Zuri. A broken chalk piece wrapped in tissue. The anonymous letter from juror number 9. Tarek's second letter, now laminated. He places each item in carefully, like artifacts, like proof that this mattered. Boy medium skin tone, a knock at the door. He turns. A boy, maybe 14, stands at the door. Backpack half zipped. Eyes hesitant. Are you Mr. Lee? Oh, I just wanted to ask something. Marcus nods, waves him in. Shoot. My brother told me you were in that jury thing. The one with the kid? And he said you save his life. Your brother? Tarek. Marcus's face changes. Softens. He's doing okay? Yeah, he got in. Psychology major. Wants to help people like us not go through what he did. Pause. He said, you never raised your voice in that room. You just waited, and that scared them more. Marcus smiles. I didn't want to scare anyone. I just didn't want to lie. The boy nods. Then, shyly, you think I could do that? Like stand up? Even when I'm the only one? Marcus kneels slightly. Eye level. You just did. Graduation cap graduation, 2 months later. Marcus attends quietly from the back row. Bree is now the teacher. She hugs her students after they cross the stage. Marcus watches with a mix of pride and nostalgia. Tarek is there too, in a suit. He's not a speaker. He just claps louder than anyone else. When he spots Marcus across the field, they don't say a word. Just a nod. It says everything. Writing hand epilogue, a bookstore 1 year later. A small independent bookstore in Atlanta. Front window features a new release. Not Guilty, Truth, Courage, and the Room That Changed Me. By Marcus Lee. Inside a small crowd. Marcus is signing books. A girl hands him a copy. I want to be a judge one day. He signs it. Then, judge like your name is on the verdict. Camera with flash, the final shot. Marcus walks home that night. No fanfare. No headlines. Just streetlights and footsteps. He passes a mural. 12 figures seated around a table. One stands. Quietly. No name. Only a quote beneath. Asterisk, justice didn't start with the system. It started when one man said, I'm not there yet. Asterisk, Marcus stops, touches the wall, gently, smiles, then walks on. Studio microphone, asterisk, he didn't burn the system down. He made it blink. And once it blinked, it could never close its eyes again. Asterisk, orange heart, final line. Asterisk, they thought he was just another name on the list. But Marcus Lee was a name. He was a moment. And moments like that don't disappear. They ripple. Asterisk,